What is up, guys? Diversity Doubleshot here, and today I'm going to be doing a collab video with Phantom Soup, and we're going to be doing a game review for the game Ghost Recon Wildlands for the PS4, so here you go.
Alright, so we have completed the game 100% start to finish. We got the platinum trophy and everything. We even pre-ordered the game. We have like all the DLCs they have to like this point. So also we've composed a list of all the things, pros and cons we found about the game, things we like, things we were like yay, nay on. So go ahead and kick it right off with the DLC bike that you get for pre-ordering, or you actually don't get it for pre-ordering. Get it from the cool DLC if you get the gold edition. So this bike is random, and when it spawns, it doesn't have a particular base it likes. It's just every once in a while it'll just show up and you can kind of use it. It is nothing special about it. It isn't faster, doesn't do anything cool, nothing like that. So that's pretty much all that there is about that bike. In addition, so there's other bikes. The controls of the bikes are a little squirrely at best. You kind of wiggle off of them. You can fly really far, and it's kind of funny sometimes. So there you go. Next topic.
Now, as far as the cars, there are a lot of car problems in this game. There are times in the game where you will find cars getting stuck inside of objects such as the ground or rocks. There is also the problem with undead vehicles, where you can literally be gunning down a convoy, and the truck that is leading the convoy will catch on fire, blow up, and also get burnt out and basically turn into a burnt piece of toast, and still be perfectly capable of driving along with everybody that was in the vehicle still alive and shooting out of the vehicle. So there are a lot of different problems with the vehicles, whether it be they're undead, such as helicopters being stuck in the sky on fire and exploding, pretty much just floating there, hovering like Houdini in the sky. And there's also other car problems such as objects being stuck inside of cars, cars coming out of the ground, and there's just a lot of problems with cars in general. So going ahead and moving on to the next topic.
Alright, so I want to talk about I want to expand on the floating vehicles thing. So vehicles will float above the ground like Houdini, like he just said. Also, other things will float. Helicopters, when they're shot down, they won't come down, they'll just float there. Objects like soccer balls I've seen floating, pictures have floated, even like llamas I've kind of seen floating. Like a lot of things in this game don't really get too involved with gravity, and they'll just float there. So that's about all I got to talk about on that. So let's move on to the next one.
As far as objects being stuck, like I said previously, there are a lot of problems with cars being stuck in the ground. Helicopters have actually been stuck inside of buildings. Guns have been pretty much just floating on the ground wherever they may be. And there are also a lot of different cases of vehicles being stuck inside of rocks, or being stuck in the ground or on the ground, even dirt bikes. People can be literally sitting on a dirt bike as if they were about to start riding it, but it is laid sideways on the ground and stuck in the ground. So going ahead and picking up with another topic, here you go.
Alright, so I want to talk about the environment of the game. The game's got a pretty beautiful environment, a very large map, but there are a few things wrong with it in general. So if you can manage to get the character's head beneath the ground, you'll be able to just see everything and underneath the map in an infinite blue void and all the little plants and shrubs. So that can happen as well. Trees. The trees in this game are very magical things. They can grow out of pure stone in some spots for whatever reason that may be. Also, they can block grenades and bullets from the player characters, but not the AIs. Also, you can fly through the trees sometimes, and sometimes not. It depends on how high on the tree, and there isn't really a set stone thing about that. Also, the rivers are very, very Minecrafted. They don't look very natural at all. They usually are spawned out of a sewer and like end in a sewer, except the rivers that are connected to the large lake in the center of the map. So that's pretty much all that I have to talk about that particular thing. So this is a bigger one. This is about, I'm going to talk about the glitches and like other problems the game kind of has. More of a generic topic. So one time I encountered some blinking crates or boxes. Like, you may see me, you kind of just, they just like flicker on and off like Christmas lights. I don't know why. And they don't really react to me touching them at all. I don't know what they're doing. Also, occasionally, when you're playing with friends, one of the characters will get stuck in an animation and just kind of just sit there until the other character moves or gets in a vehicle, and they'll be dragged along or just like running behind it. It's very peculiar. Very, very, very odd. Also, sometimes the enemies will get burned, but they'll look like Freddy Krueger and not like a shard remains. They'll have like some skin blemishes. It looks very, very odd. And one more thing I'd like to talk about real quick in this little category is the game, it does come fully equipped with an STD launcher. Just want to put that out there for everyone to know. So, next topic.
Moving on to the AI issues, there are a lot of AI issues in this game. Now, starting off with some of the people that we actually like in this game, which would be the rebels. There have been numerous times where I've spawned in the game and found that the rebels are trying to just, be normal and do something such as, build an engine or write something down on a notepad, but yet their guns are hovering in front of them as if they are actually aiming, and they're just floating there like Houdini. Now, moving on to the actual, bad guys, or the Unidad, or whatever you want to call them. Now, as far as the Unidad go, and, everybody around the army guys, they all hone in on you like zombies. They can see you from wherever you are. They could be across the map, and you could be in a building, and as long as if that little white bar is activated on your screen, they'll be able to find you wherever you are. I swear, they teleport to you, and they instantly start gunning you down. Now, not to mention that there are lunch lines of Unidad people that will follow you around and literally shoot you to death constantly. If you are found by the Unidad, it's 100 times worse than just the normal bad guys in this game. And one more thing I want to touch on is the 3 idiots that follow you around in this game. These 3 guys are so ridiculous. There was a time where Phantom was trying to get a trophy, and he was trying to take a shot with a sniper perfectly so he'd be able to activate, the next step in getting his trophy. And he sent these guys off in, pretty much to Neverland. He just sent them off to like the top of a mountain like 1,000 meters away. And somehow, as soon as he shot this guy, they started shooting everybody else from 1,000 meters away with snipers. And to be honest, I don't even think they were equipped with snipers. I'm pretty sure they had assault rifles, and they got a 1,000-meter shot. So they're like the Bolivian American sniper. So they're the Bolivian sniper that sees all. Literally. Just like the movie American Sniper. It's crazy how crazy that shot was. But moving on to the next topic.
Alright, I want to touch on real quick some poor game design. The game has featured they've got a lot of things, bugs. I don't want to get on too deep about all of that, so I just want to touch on one thing real quick. That is the unbalanced supplies the game gives you. So the level cap is 30, and the trophy, you have to literally max every one of your skills out, and you need the supplies to do that. There are 4 kinds of supplies. But other than the side missions, they're kind of like little sprinkled all over every little base and whatnot, and the values of them are either you can get 50, 100, so on, all the way up to like 250. But it isn't scaled correctly, because I was at level 30, and I enter a base, and I get not 1 but 2 50 valued crates. That isn't going to accomplish anything. The skills towards the end of the game are like upwards of 7, 8,000, 10K even. That's not going to do anything. It's not going to get the job done. It's not going to accomplish anything. I don't know why they're like that. Even at the beginning of the game, it isn't very helpful at all, because the skills are upwards of a couple hundred and even like a little 1,000. So yeah, so moving on from here.
So moving on to the things that we actually don't have, pictures or screenshots of. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about them because they were, so common that we really didn't feel like we needed to take a picture of them. The first one I want to touch on is the darkness of the game. Now, not to mention that this game is almost close to pitch black. Even if you go in the settings and you turn your brightness all the way up, it doesn't make the game brighter at all. It just makes it whiter. So as if you're watching a show from the 50s, something like the original I Love Lucy in black and white. It's just black and white, very dark, and not good at all. And not to mention the headlights in the game that are on all the cars. They don't make it any better at all. They actually make it worse and harder to drive. I've actually crashed more times with the headlights on than I've crashed with the headlights off. Now, moving on to the radio, I want to touch on that a little bit. And I also want to touch on the fact that there is not a horn in this game. Now, I played games that have released on PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, and they have car horns. But this game that came out in 2017 doesn't have a car horn, which, in my opinion, is pretty terrible. And as far as the radio is ridiculous. There is no way to actually change the radio station. It's pretty generic with whatever car you get in, and it's either some Bolivian, kind of Spanish music, or on the level of music that's, from Spain or something like that. Or it's somebody screaming at you about, the mission that you did 10 chapters ago, or some, terrible radio podcast that has no relevance to the game, and I don't really think that anybody would actually want to listen to that. It's pretty ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense at all for it being in the game. It's not relevant. So let's pick up the next topic.
All right, so the next one I want to talk about here is the way glass is in this game. And this one really hurt me personally. I've died a lot to this. So the glass on vehicles, obviously, it can be broken most of the time. Small buildings, you can shoot the glass and climb through the windows. But on the larger scale buildings and in certain small ones, glass is unbreakable by you. You can't break it. You can't shoot through it. Like, you can't do anything to it. But the AI can see you through the glass. They can damage you through the glass. It's just, I don't know why the glass is this invincible entity that they can shoot you through. Similar to the trees in the environment, how they shoot you through that as well. So I don't know why that's like that. So one more thing as well, the enemies can, like, pretty much, I think we've already mentioned this before, but the enemies, like I said with the glass as well, they can just find you when you're engaged and just hunt you down. It's just not a fun thing. So next topic.
So picking up the driving mechanics are ridiculous in this game. They are the equivalent of Mario Kart without the drift. It's just you sliding around. It's as if you are in Antarctica driving on ice with rubber tires. You're practically just swinging all over the road, and it's actually pretty hard to control your vehicle, not to mention that the gas and the brake don't really work that well. Once you get going, it's actually pretty hard to stop, and if you gently tap the gas, you will pretty much go full throttle and almost always crash into, whatever is in front of you if you're trying to, park your car nice and neatly, or pull up somewhere and get, close to a friend to pick them up. No matter how you're trying to do it, it's almost always hard to get in the right position, and the throttle is very non-controlling. So moving on to the next one.
All right, so this was present throughout the entire game. It didn't go away, and then the new update they released didn't patch it. The new update didn't patch any of these things. We didn't take anything off of this list from this new update. I don't really know what it did. They claimed to fix bugs, but it didn't do anything. So what I want to talk about right now is whenever you switch your gun, it will briefly show you your party member's gun instead of your own. I don't know why. So if, say, your friend has a FAMAS and you have the AK, when you switch between your sniper or your secondary, it will show your teammate's gun, and I don't know why. I don't think they intended that. That doesn't really have any usefulness. You don't really gain an advantage from that. I think that's just another bug or something they just overlooked. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one.
As far as the next one goes, we're going to be talking about the vehicle spawns. Now, spawns in general are alright if you're talking about properly placed cars that are in the game. Yeah, there are a couple that might spawn in weird places, but otherwise they're pretty decent. But if you're talking about spawning a vehicle such as a helicopter, one of those armored SUVs, or a pickup truck from the rebels, they pretty much spawn wherever they want. You can be on a small road that's next to a cliff, and instead of spawning it on the road, it will spawn it off the cliff, and it will start rolling down the cliff. Also, they love to spawn helicopters inside of trees. I don't know why, but every single time I order a little helicopter from the rebels, probably about 60% of the time, I'm going to say it will spawn inside the trees, and of course, once you turn it on, the blades will break and you won't be able to fly. So, mentioning that pretty much all the vehicles that you spawn with the rebel thing are always scattered across wherever, whether it be down a hill, or in the trees, or in the water. I've pretty much seen it all between me and Phantom. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Alright, so this one I'll talk about, I don't know if it's just me in general with Ubisoft games, because with other games I typically don't find glitches too easily, but whenever I play a Ubisoft game or a game they've published, I can find the glitches. They just find me. So the first one I'll talk about is the drone slash, I'm gonna go, it's like a drone and a binocular glitch, because they both get shut down. After you use a drone and just use its special ability, I'd say 9 out of 10 times it won't let you use it next time. If you press the action button to use it, it won't appear. And if you try to use your binoculars as well, those don't appear. And I checked the map one time, and my drone was on the map, but I was some 2-3 kilometers away. So I don't know, I didn't figure out a way to fix it other than dying or exiting the game altogether. There was no way to fix it. So the next one is, there's a gun audio glitch. It isn't loud, like if you've ever played 7 Days to Die, that gun audio glitch. It's more subtle, but it changes the pitch of the bullets, like they're being shot into wood. It's just, it doesn't go away until you die or turn the game off. So these are two glitches I've found, and they just bother me. They're little things, but the drone thing can really mess you up if you're trying to be, trying to actually accomplish something in this game. So, gonna go ahead and talk about the next topic here.
Next topic is going to be the mission design. Now, this was something that throughout the game really bothered me and Phantom both. Pretty much there's about 5. I'm going to say 5, just off the top of my head, that there's about 5 missions in this game that you can actually do. So there's one where you go to a place, you tail somebody, and then you eventually tail them to wherever they're going, and then you kill them. There is a mission where you go and kill somebody. There's a mission where you go and capture somebody and bring them somewhere. There's also a mission where you can go and search for somebody, whether to talk to them or just go to talk to somebody. And then there's also the missions where you have to go somewhere and search a house or search a building for a certain object. Now, aside from those, or the final end game missions that are more plot related, those are pretty much the generic missions in this game. So there are over a dozen little areas to go in this game, and there are a good amount of missions in each area. And every mission is that mission exact. One of those 5, that's exactly what you're going to be doing. So with all that being said, let's move on to the next one.
Alright, so I want to talk about real quick the unoriginal characters and pretty much how boring the story is overall. So essentially the story goes, you have 4 guys and 1 officer, and you're trying to take down the Bolivian cartel. The 4 characters, I personally don't even remember their names. All I remember from them is the wacky stories they occasionally tell, and by wacky I mean one of 4 stories they occasionally will tell. And throughout the entire game, it can be the beginning or end. I've heard the same ones over and over again. So there's that. The only character I remember his name other than El Sueño was Bowman, our boss lady we're always having to talk to by force. And then the story itself was, you just go and you, like he said in the last point, it's 5 different missions, and you just do them over and over and over again until you eventually meet the untimely demise, which I want to talk about now, the awful ending in the game. Spoilers, but El Sueño, there's two endings you can get, but essentially you don't really get to do the man ending himself. It's kind of unsatisfying. It's just, he doesn't really. There's no climactic ending fight where you got to fight him. You have low health, and no, it's been reduced to a simple cutscene, and the game just ends and tells you beat it. So, moving on to the next topic.
So, moving on to the rebels and the allies, about how useless and unloved they are. Now, this was constant throughout the game. Me and Phantom just cracking jokes about these guys. There's been multiple scenes where we've driven by like a line of them, probably about 6 or 7, and they just all swan dive in front of the car. It was hilarious. But they are so useless because throughout the game, all we're doing is helping them. That's what we're doing. We're there to help them. We're giving them supplies. Giving, helping. Repeated. But for some reason, whatever, there's no reason for this at all. It was never explained to me. I just know I came out of a building from talking with the boss lady Bowman, and all of a sudden every rebel is aiming their AKs at me and screaming at me, and I'm like, wait a minute, what did I do? I gave you guys everything, and you kind of just treated me like garbage. And they just all turn on you and start gunning you down, which there was no reason for that. Maybe if they would have explained it a little bit more, I would have been alright with it. But the fact that we helped them throughout the game, and they kind of just screwed us over for no apparent reason, and it was never really explained at all, really gets me a little scratchy, a little grouchy inside. So aside from that, let's go ahead and pick up the next topic.
All right, so the next one here, a quick touch on trophies. Aren't going to talk about all the trophies or how to get them or anything. So basically, a few trophies. We've got a separate video for it, of course. We tried to get certain trophies, and they don't care. Like, we've fulfilled the exact demands they wanted, and it just didn't click. They just didn't register to them that it was good enough, and they wanted you to do it again. 2, 3, 4, tons of tries. I tried to get a certain one of the mine glitches, C4 glitches, if you will, or trophies, if you will, and it just didn't go. It doesn't register or click on, or just give it to you. I don't know what they asked for. It was, you could take the first try and the last try, and they're pretty much the same. I don't know why. So moving on to the next topic.
Yeah, touching real fast on the trophies. We probably sat there for about 2 hours that night. Trying to get one trophy, and there's actually a video of that, of us getting actually upset about it. Various jokes were said, but like we said, moving on, the pre-order and the DLCs for the game. So, like we said, we did buy the Gold Edition, which came with the 4 camos, the little crappy side shotgun that I never used, and and the bike. So it came with all of that, and then if you pre-ordered, you also got the Peruvian DLC. Now, I thought the Peruvian DLC was going to be a separate, entity that we went to, and it was going to be a totally different, set of story. Literally, what it is it's a already created area in the map that you just go to, and all it simply does is add story missions to that area. And I believe it's only like 3 or 4. I'm not gonna, necessarily say a full number, but
there were really only like around 4 missions for it as well.
Yeah, there was only a few missions for it, and that's all you got for pre-ordering, and that was supposed to be the big, Peruvian DLC. I remember standing in GameStop, like, about to pre-order the game, and I hear on the little TVs that they have above, where the little checkout register is, and it's like, get the Peruvian DLC if you pre-order. Like, they hyped it up so much, but it was nothing. I don't even remember the storyline to the Peruvian DLC. That's how, unimportant it was, because we didn't even know.
Google it to figure it out,
Yeah, we didn't even know we did it until we Googled it, because we wanted to figure out how to do it, and then it was like, you already did it. And we're like, wait a minute. What? We didn't even know. We had no idea. So, going ahead and start off with the positive things, now that we've gone through the list of, terrible things that bothered us. Let's actually try to make this a full review, give it a few positive things. So as far as the graphics, I didn't mind them. As far as frame rate, that could have been improved, but the graphics was, pretty decent. It's a Ghost Recon game. I played Ghost Recon games for a long time, and in my opinion, the first Ghost Recon games that actually were for the Xbox, if you played the original Xbox, the first 2 Ghost Recon games are the equivalent of how good this game is, in my opinion. But As far as the graphics, they weren't bad. I enjoyed them. The frame rate could have been better. The graphics were all right. And there was also a lot of different guns and attachments to choose from. So pretty much if you wanted to, use a LMG, a sniper, there was a lot for you to choose from as far as damage and modifications to it. So I did like the variety of guns and different things like that. So let's go ahead and pick up with the next topic.
Alright, so next thing, good thing about this game, massive open world. It's got a really good map. It's 2017, so it's a pretty good map. They started making this game like a while ago. 2012, I think, is when development started. So a really good map. It's a big map. It's nice and open. The object permanence is really good in this game. It's probably my favorite thing about it. Little caravans that will pass you will stay on the map. They'll pretty much like go pretty far away. It's not like in GTA how things will kind of just spawn away from you. Like if you walk away from your car too far, they'll just go away. So that is one great thing about this game is its permanence is really good. It's got a great open world feel. As well as a 4-player co-op game. Co-op games they're not really as like popular as you'd think they would be. Like a lot of like team play, TDMs and COD and Battlefield and all of that. But it did accomplish a good 4-player co-op feel. But if you're only playing with a few friends or with the AIs, it is a bit sad. So, all right, the final thing I want to talk about: best vehicle in the entire game. By far, the Subaru Outback. It's amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, that was the golden point of this game for us. That's how we got through it. Honestly, we're trying to platinum it. We're sitting there late night. We're doing the boring missions,
grinding.
And everything would stop when we saw a Subaru Outback, and we'd instantly turn into Australian voices, and we'd start literally yelling about there being a Subaru Outback. We'd stop everything we were doing, whether it be we're getting shot at, there's a Subaru Outback, we're going to get it. So that was one of the main things that actually got me and Phantom through this game, was being able to get inside of a Subaru Outback, and we would see one of those, and he'd be like, we're gonna get in the back of the Subaru Outback, and we just start driving around in the Subaru Outback, gunning everybody down, because that's probably the realest car in the game. Like, you think a Lamborghini's good? No. You want a Subaru Outback.
By far.
Yeah. Subaru Outback for the win. Hashtag Subaru Outback. So, with all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Definitely be sure to check out all of our previous Ghost Recon videos. Go ahead and check out Phantom's channel. There's going to be a copy of this video posted on that channel as well, so definitely be sure to go over there, show him some love, check out some of his crazy content, because he does a lot more wacky stuff than I do. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video. Peace.